Today we're taking a look at a watch that I would describe as a lovable giant, sort of like Hodor from Game of Thrones. It's big, it's in your face, you're definitely gonna know that it's on your wrist when you're wearing it. However, it's super capable and it's really good looking. It's also very well made. Of course, it is the Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean Ultra Deep, getting 6,000 meters of water resistance. This is a serious dive watch that I think is really good looking. So let's flip the camera and take a look at one of the biggest Omegas that I've ever featured here on my channel, the Omega Seamaster Ultra Deep. So this is the Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean Ultra Deep. This is a 6,000 meter dive watch. This watch was lent into the channel by exquisitetimepieces.com. They currently have this watch and many other Omegas, some that I will be featuring here on my channel for sale. They are an authorized dealer, so definitely check out their website. I will put a link down in the description below. Also, check out their brick and mortar store down in Naples, Florida. They have tons of watches, a beautiful store there. Definitely check them out and tell them that Watch Chris sent you. So, getting right into the watch, this is a 6,000 meter dive watch. I need to say that again because it is pretty incredible. And it's pretty incredible because this is not much bigger than the Planet Ocean that has 600 meters of water resistance. There's only a few little differences. One of the differences is that you cannot see the movement. You do get the caliber 8912. It is Master Chronometer certified. However, you don't get to see it. That's because you do get a solid case back. That kind of makes sense because you are getting so much water resistance, so much that you will probably never ever use it. However, it's sort of that bragging rights thing that watch people love, including myself, so I won't exclude myself from that. Bragging rights for, you know, the deepest diver or whatever it might be. And obviously this gets some bragging rights. It's still in a 45.5 millimeter case. I've measured it a few times and I've gotten 45.3, 45 flat. However, I have not gotten 45.5, which is what the manufacturer claims, which is what Omega claims. I think that's because you have these crown guards. If you measure with the crown guards, it's like 46 millimeters. At the bezel, it's under 44 millimeters. Thickness on this is around 17.6 millimeters, so just under 18 millimeters thick, and you do have a 7.5 millimeter crown. The lug to lug is about 50 millimeters if you are measuring at the case. It's around 55 millimeters if you are including those male end links, because you do have male end links on this Omega bracelet. And speaking of the bracelet, this is a big, thick bracelet that has a beautiful chamfered edge along the side, big, huge screwed links. You have a diver's extension, and then you also have micro adjust on the fly that is very typical to Omega. But look at this buckle. There's a chamfered edge that goes around the buckle, so there's a polished edge around the buckle, but it's also sort of faceted. It looks amazing and it feels amazing. This is one of the nicest buckles that I have ever encountered, and I have to say that is absolutely true. You have very easy to use micro adjust and also diver's extension. So there's a button here, very, very easy to just pull in and out. And I could show you that it's very, very smooth. It ratchets. You can see you have a lot of adjustment that you can use here. And then of course you have that diver's extension, very, very easy to use. Obviously it's a professional dive watch. It actually says professional on the dial, it says Omega, and then Seamaster, and then professional. At the bottom of the dial it says obviously ultra deep, and then it gives you the 6,000 meter water resistance, which is pretty incredible. You have a liquid metal bezel. This is obviously a ceramic bezel that's meant to look like metal. That's what Omega love to do with a lot of their dive watches. It sounds very similar to what you get from other Planet Oceans. So Planet Oceans with 600 meters of water resistance. So let's listen to that. Really nice bezel action, sounds really good. Obviously very, very tight. There is no wiggle in the bezel whatsoever. The dial is a fume dial, and then you have applied indices. Those are filled with lume. You have arrows for the hour and minutes, and then also for the seconds. The seconds has a little bit of a blue tip to it, and that fume pattern is basically a very dark blue or black that goes towards the center, a very dark blue, just slightly lighter than the outer portion. So unless you really look at the watch, you're not going to know that this has a fume pattern. Beautifully executed. And one of the great things about Omega in general is that all of their watches, and on their website they call it a travel option or travel movement, or I don't know what they call it, but essentially what it means is when you unscrew the crown, just like this, and it's very smooth. When you're unscrewing the crown, it feels like butter. There's a little pop. You put it into the first position. It does not hack, but you can then move the hour hand, which is great for travel. So it's not a GMT, but if you are changing time zones, very easy to change time zones. Then pop it out into the last position, and then you could adjust the time. This is no date, so there is no date to adjust. That's it. Very nice. Really great option. A lot of brands have been doing this. I think Omega were one of the first. Panerai also do it, which is pretty cool. And I think it's a great option to have. It's very good for travel, as I mentioned. Very quickly, I'm going to throw it on my wrist. We'll talk about price, and then we'll do a quick lume shot. This is a beast. And to just give you an idea, the Rolex Deep Sea Sea Dweller, that gets 3,900 meters of water resistance. This gets 6,000 meters of water resistance. Do you need 6,000 meters of water resistance? No. Why do you get it? Well, maybe you want bragging rights. Maybe you are a diver and you want to go diving. You want something that is literally bulletproof. And I feel like this watch could take a bullet and you would not be harmed if you had this on your wrist. Of course, someone would have to very precisely shoot you in the wrist, and that's the least of your problems if you're being shot. But this is a cool watch, and it is very it just feels like an instrument in your hands. Quickly, a wrist shot. On my wrist today, I have an Accutron. This is the SpaceView 220. This is a new colorway, so this is a gray-green. It's a little bit different. They've actually recently come out with some even newer colorways where the crown is at the I believe it's the 2 o'clock position, which is pretty cool. This is somewhere in between. There was the original ones, and then this was like a midpoint when they came out with some new colors. Beautiful watch. Well, there it is on my 7.5 inch wrist, and I have to say it wears very similar to my Planet Ocean. I actually sold my Planet Ocean and I bought a different Omega a little while ago. However, this is thicker. I think the bezel is a little bit thicker as well. That could be because of the case construction. However, there you go. I have a 7.5 inch wrist. This is around a 45 millimeter watch, and you can see it wears really nicely for such a large watch. And when you put it on its side, you can see it does sit down pretty well on the wrist. Obviously, you're not going to get this under a cuff, but for a 18 millimeter thick watch with a 45 millimeter case and a basically 52 millimeter lug to lug, if you average it out with the bracelet, I think it works fine on my 7.5 inch wrist. It could work for even smaller wrists. Definitely for larger wrists, this would work. So very quickly, before we do a lume shot, price on this is $12,700. I think that's what it is on Exquisite Timepieces website and also the Omega website. So if you are interested in this watch, definitely check out their website. They currently have these watches in stock, and it is a beast. If you are looking for a very capable, very cool Omega, this is a very good option if you're interested in it. Definitely check out their website. Well, there you go. You can see there's lume on basically all of the hands, all of the indices, very liberally applied with lume. I'm actually pretty impressed with the lume on this watch. Much better than my Omega, my current Omega, which I have a 1957 Seamaster 300. So this gets a lot more lume, which kind of makes sense. You have much bigger indices here. They are applied and very liberally filled with lume. Looks great in the dark. Really interesting watch, something that I didn't expect from Omega, as other watch companies are going smaller. They sort of leaned into one of their largest watches and sort of beefed it up to have 6,000 meters of water resistance, which is really cool. And, you know, obviously for bragging rights, I think, is kind of what they did it for. It just feels like an instrument, like a really finely made instrument in your hands, even though it's very heavy. Obviously, it's very functional. So tell me what you guys think. I think this is cool. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Tell me down in the comments below. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon. Also, check out exquisitetimepieces.com. Like I said, they're an authorized dealer for many brands, not only Omega, but a ton of other brands. So if you are interested in purchasing a watch, definitely check out their website. I will put a link down in the description, and tell them Watch Chris sent you. If you end up buying something, definitely tell them that you heard about them here first. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. I appreciate you, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video.